Hey guys, what's up? It's munclesonkey and welcome to my top 10 ways to make money without using combat. So before we get into this guide, I have to clarify a few things. For one, this video is not how to make money while being a skiller, it's just non-combat. That's the video I was requested to make. So some of these methods are going to require that you have done combat at some point in the past, but they do not directly require you to do combat. Second of all, there have been a few things that would have made this list that I had to leave out just because they were kind of obscure, and if a whole bunch of people started doing these methods, they would no longer be good money. So there are some things that are not super well known that I did have to leave out, but are 2 mil per hour plus and probably would have made this list if I included them, but I didn't want to ruin anybody's method of making money personally. And the last thing that I have to let you guys know is that some of these are not things that you can just go grind out, but things that actually make you money over time, just doing certain daily tasks or going on a farm run. Yes, farming will be on this list because it's really good money. So some of these things you can just grind out and make a whole bunch of money in one day. Some of them you have to do slowly over time in small installments, but all of this is really good money in the long run. So that's about all for the disclaimers, and let's get into the video. Number 10 on this list is, as I mentioned earlier, one of those tasks that you can do slowly over time. It's not something that you can grind out, but it is really good money if you go by an hourly rate, like how much time you actually spend making the potion flask, then it's very good money per hour. And because it doesn't take a whole lot of time, it takes a good solid 10 minutes to collect all your flasks and make them all into potion flasks. However, it's very, very worth it if you just get yourself to do this every day and stock up on them, and you'll get some free crafting XP as well. It requires 81 mining and 89 crafting, as well as the as a first resort quest to do this. And if you want more information on it, there's going to be a guide to my daily run, which also includes how to do potion flasks on the screen. I'll have a lot of guide links on the screen. I won't point all of them out because you can see them for yourself. They're also in the description. So if you want to know more about an individual method, just click on that and that will take you there. But anyway, I would highly recommend for you to do potion flasks if you don't do them already, because it really adds up over time, and you can just do this and once every few months have a nice little chunk of change to sell. Number 9 is hunting swamp lizards, and unfortunately this is probably one of the more well-known methods on this entire list. So there's a lot of people that do this, especially because it's a very low requirement. You only need 29 hunter to hunt swamp lizards, and as soon as you get level 40 hunter for the 3 traps, it becomes pretty decent money per hour, especially with the Canifis lodestone, because it's very easy to bank. Now unfortunately, since there's a bonus XP weekend coming up, swamp lizard prices are very skewed at the moment, so I was unable to get an accurate price on how much they would be in a normal economy without a bonus XP weekend coming up in a month. But I asked some people in my friends chat, and they told me that they make usually around 2 mil an hour, and these are people with lower level hunters, so these aren't like pros using yaks and stuff. Also, make sure that you bring a beast of burden to store extra swamp lizards inside so you can stay here for longer trips, and just use the Canifis lodestone to bank, and it's pretty decent money and very, very low requirements. So if you want to get your hunter level up and you're a low level, or you just want to make some money, especially with the bonus XP weekend coming up, just saying, swamp lizards are a great way to go. Number 8 on this list is enchanting onyx bolts. You can buy onyx bolts off the GE, and they actually do exist on the GE. People sell them because they attach onyx bolt tips to runite bolts, because I think that's pretty decent fletching XP, and then they sell them, and I believe that profits a little bit as well, but not as good as this. And what you can do is you can take the onyx bolt tips and you can use the enchant onyx bolt spell and turn them into onyx bolts E, which have a higher alch price than the regular onyx bolts. The regular onyx bolts alch for 8.2k, and the enchanted ones alch for 9k flat a piece, and then you can sell them on the GE. You can also choose to alch them, but you'll make more money per hour if you just sell them, so I'd recommend to do that. Even though you don't make a whole lot per bolt, you make them very, very quickly. So 2.4 mil an hour, a method I never knew existed, but is actually pretty legit, and you get some like 60k magic an hour or something like that as well. Number 7 on this list is using the Make Leather spell on the Lunar Spellbook to turn dragon hides into tanned dragon hides. Now this is one that changes a lot based on GE prices, so sometimes it's going to be better than this and sometimes it's going to be worse, but just during the day that I tested, it was about 2.5 mil profit an hour, which is pretty decent. You know, that's nothing to laugh at or anything. Also, if you're just a really low level, just starting out and you want some starter cash, a great way to make money is just buying this dragon hide and tanning it. There's a tanner in Varrock, like just south of the bank, the western bank that is, and you can run back and forth to the bank into him, and it's about like 1.4 mil an hour profit or something. However, if you have access to the Make Leather spell, which you get from Livid Farm again, so the requirements are kind of high. It's about 2.5 mil an hour tanning blue dragon hides. There will be a link in the description that tells you what is the best hide to tan, because it changes all the time based on GE prices, but usually it's going to be well over 2 mil an hour doing this. Number 6 on this list is yet another magical way of making money. There's so many of them, but I'm just listing the non-combat ones on this list, and this is using lunar magics to turn buckets of sand and seaweed into glass, and this is the super glass make spell. You can get this after the quest Dream Mentor, so it doesn't even require Livid Farm, making this a bit easier than the Make Leather spell. And it's also better money. The only problem about this one is it's much more click intensive, and it's actually quite difficult to do just with all the interface lag. However, it is very good profit an hour, about 2.6 mil an hour just making this glass. Who'da thunk? And it's also some decent crafting XP as well, about 100k crafted an hour doing this. So if you want a way to train crafting that actually profits you money and you don't mind doing quite a bit of clicking and keyboard spamming, this is probably your best way to go. Number 5 on this list is a hunter method. So hunter actually is a decent way to make money even in 2014. However, there's only one really good way to do it. Now this one is a little bit tricky because you can't just go and do it whenever you want. You have to play the minigame Big Chinchompa. You can do this at the top of every single hour, and when you do that, you spend the points that you get in the minigame on Grenwall quota tickets, and then for every ticket that you get, you can catch a Grenwall, and you get 150 tickets a game if you spend all your points on the tickets, so you can catch 150 Grenwalls per game. So again, that's only like an hour of Grenwall hunting, so you can't just do this all day, and you do have to do some hunter minigame in order to do this. However, the rewards are pretty good. Not only is it great hunter XP, it's about 260k hunter an hour by catching these Grenwalls. It's also about 3.45 mil an hour, and that was with me including the time that it takes to do Big Chinchompa as well. If you just include the Grenwall catching time, it's about 5 mil an hour. However, of course, you can't just catch Grenwalls. You have to spend some time doing Big Chinchompa as well. I would definitely say this is worth it. However, unfortunately, this method has started to become discovered lately. I've been seeing a lot of people at the Grenwall hunting area, and also Grenwalls are like 200 GP below GE price when there's a bonus XP weekend coming up. So all of these signs point towards there's too many people doing this method. However, with that being said, it's still great hunter XP, and it's still pretty good money considering how much overall XP per hour you're getting. So I definitely recommend for you to check it out if you're not 99 hunter yet, or if you're going for 120 or anything like that, and you don't mind spending a bit of effort to make some caches along the way. Number 4 on this list is the first farming method. Yes, there will be another farming method coming up later. No spoilers intended, but farming is great cash overall, and this is picking coconuts from palm trees. The only bad thing about this is you can only do this up to 3 or 4 times a day, probably more like 3 times a day for the average person, because it takes about 3.5 hours for the coconuts to grow back. However, all you have to do is you have to plant palm trees, and then you run around between all your palm trees with a giant ent familiar summoned. Requires 78 summoning for that. That's pretty much required, as it'll give you 1/3 more coconuts than you normally get. And you just pick them all, and it only takes about 3 minutes per run. I actually timed this run, and it took 2 minutes and 51 seconds to check all 6 palm trees, so that's really fast, and you make around 185k-ish per run. So I'd say it's definitely worth it if you don't mind not having your fruit tree patch open. If you're going for 99 farming, don't do this. Plant fruit trees so you can get the XP. However, if you don't really care that much about 99 farming, or you just want a little way to make some extra money, this is a great way to go, even though you can only do it a couple times a day. Number 3 on this list is a method that is pretty involved and does have a lot of requirements and stuff that will just generally help you out with doing things faster, such as like the Abyssal Titan and the Massive Pouch, which you get from 90 rune crafting and 93 summoning. So all of those together are going to greatly increase the profit, and if you don't have them, it's still good money but not quite as good. But I'm showing the maximum profit of making mud runes. So what you do is you fill up your pouches and you make sure you have some water runes in your inventory, as well as you equip a staff of fire and you have some astral runes, and you're on the lunar spellbook because you're going to be using the magic imbue spell. And then after you've completed Enlightened Journey, you can use balloon transport. So you use from Castle Wars to Varrock. It requires a willow log, and you enter the Earth Altar. Are you still sticking with me? I know it's a lot to take in all at once, and I apologize for that. But then when you actually get to the altar itself, you cast the magic imbue spell, you use water runes on the altar, and then you empty your pouches, empty your familiar, just empty everything you got, put it all into the altar. and then it turns it into mud runes. And since you have a body necklace equipped as well, you have a 100% success rate of making these. If you don't have the necklace equipped, it's only a 50% success rate, so you really want to make sure that you have that equipped. I think the necklace lasts for about 2.5 or 3 runs, and you have to get a new one. But overall, you make mud runes from this, and mud runes are worth a lot of money. And it's about 3.75 mil an hour with everything, so all the requirements, the familiar, everything. It's a very involved method, but a pretty unique one. And I was kind of surprised how good of money this was just making mud runes. But again, it's not this good of money unless you have all those requirements. And if you have all those rune crafting requirements, there is a better way to make money through rune crafting that's a lot easier as well, and I'll be showing that one in just a second. However, I'm showing these off based on how much money per hour they are, so mud runes deserve to mention. Pretty unique method, definitely not worth doing compared to other ways of making money through rune crafting, but I liked it and I kind of thought it was fun. Number 2 on this list is the best way to make money through rune crafting, and that is making double astral runes. So you only need 82 rune crafting to do this, so the rune crafting level isn't super high. That's pretty easy to get at the rune span. And once you do this, if you follow the exact same method as I'm following in this video, and you can get about 48 seconds per altar run, and you're also using the Abyssal Familiar in all the pouches. It's about 3.85 mil an hour. It's also about 58k runecrafting XP per hour, which I think is not bad at all considering how much money you're making. I also tried out double nature runes as well, which require 91 rune crafting. However, this is a bit faster. It's even faster than the nature rune grok running method, mainly because you can use an Abyssal Familiar here, and you can't use it with the grok method. And this also is slightly less time per altar run than the nature rune running method. So I did not include nature runes at all in this video, and the main reason for that is just I feel astral runes replace them. Even though nature runes technically should have made the list, astral and nature runes, it's both altar running, it's both the exact same thing, just at a different location. So this is why astral runes are on the list and natures are not. However, this all does depend on prices, and maybe if nature runes rise a lot and astrals crash a lot, natures can become better. But for now, this is definitely the way to go if you want to make money through rune crafting. Number 1 on this list is herb runs. You all knew it was coming, you just didn't know what spot on the list it would be, and here it is at the number 1, the king of making money through skilling. Now, this is taking into consideration that you're doing each run in about 6 minutes, which is really, it doesn't take any longer than that to do a herb run, as well as you're picking morchella mushrooms and you're harvesting your cactus and alcarid. If you're doing all these things and you're taking 6 minutes per run, you're making 410k on average per run with the max herb running gear. If you want to know what the max herb running gear is and how to have the requirements for all this stuff, check out the link, and the video guide will tell you how to do this exactly, and that'll be a lot easier than trying to explain it in a 1 minute long clip. However, if you do all this stuff, the herb running is just amazing money. I can't explain how worth it this is to do over a long period of time, as well as you get quite a decent amount of farming XP if you're doing some of the higher level herbs. Now, I'll also include in the description a calculator for the OurAutobiography page, which tells you which is the best herb to farm at any one time. At the moment, it's lantadem herbs. Those are the best profit, but it changes all the time. It usually changes between tourstol, dwarfweed, and lantadems, and sometimes one is the best, sometimes the other is the best. So it's best to check that page maybe once every few herb runs, and you should know exactly what herbs you should be planting. However, just follow the exact route that I have in this video. Again, check out that guide if you want to know what is the best way to gain money through herb runs, and it's really worth it. I do several herb runs a day personally, and I've made mills and mills and mills from this in my entire time playing RS. So that's about all for this top 10 video. Thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next top 10 video, which you should suggest the topic of in the comments of this one, and I'll look over all the comments and decide which topic is the best, and that will be the next top 10 video. However, I do apologize that not all of these methods are able to do by skillers, mostly the ones that require magic in order to do, as well as rune crafting. The best way that I could find for skillers to rune craft is making law runes, which is about 1.6 mil an hour, which is decent, but it's nowhere near what you can make through combat. And also, I just don't see a whole lot of skillers anymore, so I hope no one is too upset by this. But this is the best ways to make combat that I could find personally, and decided to include in the video without having to use combat. So thank you guys for watching, and farewell.